Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Taya, and I'm the Administrative Coordinator at the Temple SBDC. The Temple SBDC helps small businesses start, grow, and succeed. We do this through our no-cost consulting and a variety of our no-cost webinars and training programs like the one you're attending today. You're joining us for SEO Basics. We're recording today's session, and a copy of the training materials will be sent to all attendees in a follow-up email that is sent within 2 to 3 business days. All attendees have been muted. We encourage you to post any questions in the Q&A or chat box. Now I'll turn over the floor to Casey Clark.
Thanks, Taya. And welcome everyone to SEO Basics, also called Search Engine Optimization Basics. So that's what we'll be talking about here today. So first, I just want to talk a little bit about Temple University and their Small Business Development Center. So the Temple University SBDC is hosted by Temple's Fox School of Business, and they've been serving the small businesses of Philadelphia, Eastern Montgomery, and Lower Bucks County since 1983. Temple's ties to its community are dating back to its founding as an institution that served the working people in the local community. And today, the university remains a beacon of public service, social activism, and community engagement. Here at Temple, we aim to be a place where all members of our small business community can grow, develop, and thrive. In our services, we prioritize diversity, equity, inclusion to ensure that everyone is part of a positive, open-minded, and respectful environment. And this environment enables us to value differences, encourage meaningful growth, and learn from the different perspectives of our community. So it's a little bit about us and what's near and dear to our hearts here at Temple. Now, before we get started, let me just briefly go over what we'll be doing today. First, we'll talk about what defines an effective website or what makes an effective website. Then we'll talk about the cost and time to implement a website and some of the different platforms you can use, like Shopify, Wix, WordPress. Some of those might sound familiar. And then we'll go into search engine optimization, or SEO, and how to essentially attract more traffic and get more people to see your website and find your website. And then lastly, we'll end with social media and how that connects to SEO. Now, as we go along, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. All right, so first, most important thing with a website, what makes it effective? Well, first, it has to be well-designed and easy to use. You want this website to be something that is easy to navigate, and a way to test this could be once you create it, have friends and family go through the website and see what they think, is easy to use, maybe not easy to use, to kind of test it out and see if it's easy to interact with it. If it's not easy to use, then chances are people will exit off of it soon. So well-designed, easy to use and interact with. Number 2, optimize for mobile devices. So nowadays, everyone has a phone, and people use their phone for just about everything. Ordering groceries, looking up something online, calling, texting are only some of those items, but people browse the internet for websites just like yours every day. And so making sure your website is optimized for mobile devices is very important. The next is having a fast load time. You want your website to be loading fast. If it loads very slow, that might cause an issue with people exiting out of your website and not wanting to visit it. And so you want to optimize that by compressing data on your site, maybe compressing some pictures or images and some of the content on your site. And these first 3 things that I mentioned, those are all things that we actually cover in something called our SEO audit. So after this presentation today, you maybe want to test the SEO effectiveness of your website, and you kind of want to see how these 3 pieces are doing. we can actually do an SEO audit on your site. And towards the end, I'll give a link on where you can sign up for that SEO audit. And essentially what we'll do is we'll look at your site, give some tips based off of SEO, and then we'll review it with you. And then lastly, the big piece is inbound marketing, or essentially optimizing your website through SEO, which we'll get into later, without paying anyone. So SEO is essentially how you can fix up or optimize your website so that it is found on Google without having to pay for ads. And we'll dig into that one a little more later. Now, websites are an important part of your business strategy because it helps you sell and promote pretty much anything you want. Your products, your services, and even information can all be sold online. So first, starting with products, websites are a way for the customer to see the product, its different colors, its different features, without actually being there in person. So simply by having better pictures, better tools to view your products online can go a long way in customer purchases by optimizing those pictures and different ways you can view the products online. Next, you can sell services. A website gives you the opportunity to paint a picture for your customers of the services that you offer. Having a website offers a place to list detailed descriptions about your services, videos and images to describe your services. You can even list testimonials from happy customers that you've served, all available online. And having a website gives you the ability to list all this information readily available any time of day. So they don't have to come into your store or call you to hear about your services. They can access this 24/7 and get all that information. And so services are another thing you can list in a website. And then lastly, you can show information or sell information online. Maybe your business collects information that's very pertinent to people. And having a website, you can help reach people searching for that and sell it there as well. So no matter what you're selling, having a website is definitely pertinent in today's marketplace. So what's the cost and the time to make a website? Like, how much does it cost? How much time would it take to make a website? Well, the answer is it depends on how much you want to do to your website, how complicated it is. Does it have e-commerce where you can sell things and put them in a cart or not? But you can make a website in a day. You can definitely make it in a day. If you want more extensive, it might take longer, it could take a week, but you can definitely create a website on your own, and you can create one in a week or a day, depending on what you want to do. But it's not as hard as you think. Here's some updated prices on a few popular website platforms. There are more out there, but this gives you an idea of pricing for web platforms that are currently used by small businesses. Now, as we go through this slide, if you could just in the chat, not the Q&A, but the chat, just write what website you have if you already have a website. Do you use Wix, Shopify, WordPress, or maybe something else like GoDaddy or Squarespace? And this is good because you can also look in the chat and see what is everyone else using. Maybe you kind of want an idea of what is everyone else using. Yeah, I see we have a good mix of some of those already mentioned: Wix, Squarespace, Zoho, heard of that one too. Great. Well, thanks for chiming in. Now, depending on what you're going to do. So if you, for example, are just looking for something very easy to set up, Wix is a great, walks you through everything. if you are really all about e-commerce, maybe you're a retail store, Shopify is a great one for this as well because it already has everything set up. WordPress could be either. So WordPress, you could just do an informational website, or you could add on e-commerce later. And it's a good idea to go ahead and look at the different ones and kind of do a little bit of research on your own, maybe ask some other small business owners that have a similar business to yours, what they recommend and if they are happy with their current site. All right, I see some more Wix. Yeah, Wix is a very popular one. Squarespace is also a very popular one. All right, so now we're going to dig into search engine optimization. So what is search engine optimization, or SEO? SEO is about helping search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, you may have heard of those three search engines. It's all about helping understand the content on your website and present this content to people that are searching for things on the internet. In other words, SEO is about optimizing your website so that it can better communicate with these search engines and tell these search engines what is on your website, what you do, what you sell, so that they can more easily put your website in front of people searching for those things. Now, as mentioned earlier, search engine optimization is considered an inbound marketing technique, which again means that you're not paying for this traffic to come to your website through ads or paying for ads. You're simply increasing your traffic by using good quality content on your site, using strong keywords on your site to make your site list higher in search engine results pages. We'll get into how this is done in a little bit as well. Now, as a business, when you try to increase your traffic this way, organically rather than through paid advertisements, you actually appear more credible because you don't have a little ad icon next to your page in Google. For example, if you look here, these first three have ad written next to them, if you can see that, and this next one doesn't. The first three are paid ad searches. The one on the bottom is not paid and it's an organic search. Now, I don't know about you all, but what I do is I usually scroll past the ones that say ad because every now and then they're not really what I'm looking for. So I always end up scrolling past the ads and I go for the first one on Google that is not an ad or doesn't have an ad. So that goes to show that having search engine optimization, not just using ads, can help you see more credible. Now, the cons with SEO is it does take a little longer to see results. Also, if it's not done correctly, the results are a little unpredictable, but that's something that we can help you with, one, by giving you tips in this webinar, but also afterwards, we can run that SEO audit I mentioned earlier. We can run that for you on your website to help give you some steps and tips specific to your website. And again, I'll put a link on where to sign up for that towards the end. So this we went over is a search engine results page. This is essentially what comes up after you type something in the Google search bar. It'll essentially return to you a list of different websites, and that's what a search engine results page is called. So how do you get to this? Let's talk a little bit about how a search engine works. So to better understand search engine optimization and how to improve it for your website, it helps to know how search engine works. Examples of search engines, like I mentioned earlier, are Yahoo, Google, Bing. Google is the largest one, as you all probably know. And then a search engine results page is also called a SERP for short. And that's this page right here. And it's essentially the page that shows a list of websites, like I said before, as a result from what you typed in that search bar, that Google search bar. Now, for Google to be able to do that, the way a search engine works is Google, for example, has these little Google search bots. And these Google search bots will scan or crawl through websites. That's a process of crawling. And they crawl through your website so that they can see what this website is all about. And then they will save it, or another word is called indexing. So they'll index or save that website that they just crawled through to their larger database or their library of websites. And then when someone comes along to Google to search for something, it will then be able to pull that website from its library and put it in a search engine results page. So that process is how a search engine works, is the bots crawl your website, then they save it, called indexing, and then they return it and rank it in a search page. And your goal essentially is to rank higher in this search page, right? You want to try to rank #1 in that search page or on that first page. Again, why is this important? Why is SEO important? Well, search engines are the first place that people go to look for things, right? When you have any questions, you typically go to Google and type in whatever it is you're looking for. And then also it's important because those top 5 positions in a search engine results page, typically that first page, generates 20 times more traffic than paid ads. So if you're doing your SEO and working on that, you can get a lot more traffic than paid ads alone. Let me check the chat. Yeah, so it usually doesn't, their question is, how long does it take for a newly published website to be indexed? Typically not that long, maybe just a couple weeks or so. And you can even manually send your website off to Google to be crawled and say, hey, Google, I have a new website. Can you please crawl it? And this is something that we could, if you're, having trouble with Google not finding your website, this is something we can also review in the SEO audit, and we can help with that if it's not being indexed. Good question. All right, so how do I optimize my website? I know now that SEO is important and really good for, not just doing ads, but really good for trying to be found in Google. Now, how do I do that? How do I, optimize my website? Well, first, writing quality content and popular industry-wide content can be helpful for this. So for example, if you're a dog walking and dog grooming and dog obedience training business, and you're thinking during the COVID timeframe, what's something that I could put on my website that's quality content that could get people to come to my website? Well, if you remember during COVID, everyone got a new puppy. So maybe write a blog on your website about training your new puppy. That would be quality content. That's popular industry-wide content that can help to draw people to your website. Another is backlinks. So what's a backlink? Well, a backlink is when there's another website on the internet, not yours, but another website on the internet that puts a link to your website and that drives traffic to your website. An example of this might be a wedding venue. A wedding venue might ask maybe their vendors, maybe they have a photography vendor or a caterer vendor. They might ask those companies to put a link to their venue website on their websites. And that essentially helps drive more traffic to your website. So again, a backlink is a link on someone else's website to your website so that it can help drive traffic and essentially builds up connections for you on the internet. Another thing you can do is using good keywords and putting them in something called title tags and meta descriptions. And what I mean by that is whenever you go to a search engine results page, let me go back to what that looks like. This is a search engine results page. Based on the words that come up here, makes you want to click on it or not. So for example, if I'm looking for dog obedience training, and in this search engine results page, I see one website that lists the area that I'm located in, Philly, and then dog training. And then underneath it gives a description specifically about obedience training for new puppies. That's the one I'm going to click on. And you can use keywords in those descriptions based off of what you do as a business and what you know people are looking for online to get more people to your website. Now, this is something else we can look at in that SEO audit and see maybe where you can improve those title tags and meta descriptions. All right. Now, 3 other things, and some of them we've already mentioned. One is mobile friendliness. That will definitely affect your SEO. You want it to be mobile friendly. 2 is accessibility. How accessible is it to everyone? So how accessible is your website maybe to users that are blind and using a screen reader? It needs to be accessible to everyone, and that can help your SEO score. This is also something we look at in our SEO audit. And then lastly, the speed of your website. Something else we look at in SEO audit. How fast is your website? And if it's slow, what's slowing it down? How could we improve that? Are your images not compressed? Are your content not small enough? How can you improve that? So those are some ways that you can optimize your website for search engines. Let me take a quick look at the Q&A. Does SEO apply to social media company pages? We'll actually get to social media in a little bit. But if you're talking about like a website that's about social media, it's not actually like Facebook or Instagram, but like the website is about social media, SEO applies to any website. If I didn't answer that right, feel free to ask in a different way. I'll also be going to social media here in a little bit. All right, so what are some common myths associated with SEO? So first is keyword density helps improve page ranking. So sometimes people will use a good keyword that they know people are searching for online over and over. You know, they might write, if they know a lot of people are looking for obedience dog trainers, they might try to trick search engines by writing obedience dog training, obedience dog training, obedience dog training. And Google will notice if you're not writing sentences legibly and you're just repeating the same word over and over to try to get SEO points. And so you don't want to do that. You want to write for humans, not just for search engines. So you wouldn't want to stuff keywords like that. The next myth, social signals are a ranking factor. Now, what that means is social signals would be considered like if someone liked a post on Facebook or Instagram. Does that increase your SEO? No, it does not. Now, it doesn't mean it doesn't help your digital presence, and it doesn't help people see, oh, she gets a lot of likes on her business post. This is a good business to look at. But it doesn't necessarily help increase your SEO. Another myth is that links don't matter. Well, we just talked about backlinks and how they do matter, and you do want to try to get more backlinks if possible. Next, content doesn't matter. Content does matter. You want to, write quality content for people and for search engines. You have to keep both in mind. You don't want to keyword stuff, like we mentioned earlier, but you do want to write quality content and think of what are those words people are typing into that Google search bar. If you're a furniture company during COVID, maybe you want to include more keywords on your furniture website like sit-stand desk or home office furniture, because what are people looking for when they're looking for furniture during COVID? They're looking for home office furniture because everyone's working from home. The next myth is SEO is a one-time activity. SEO should actually be a fairly regular activity, not necessarily have to be every day, but it is good to check on it occasionally. A good way to get started with this is to do our SEO audit, have us do that for you, and then walk through it with you. And there's actually, with different websites like WordPress or Shopify or any of those websites, there's oftentimes SEO checks that can be connected to those websites so that you can monitor your own SEO over time and how to improve it. The next myth is that only the #1 position matters in Google. Well, the first page is great. It doesn't have to be #1. The first page is great though, but it definitely does not have to be #1. The next myth is that you can buy backlinks. You can buy backlinks, but you do not want to buy backlinks. Typically, if you see an ad that is asking if you want to buy backlinks, those links won't actually help you. They could actually hurt you because Google notices you are trying to buy backlinks, and that is discouraged. Oops. And then lastly, let me go back one. Google Ads would increase rankings. Well, Google Ads can help, but it is very important to also work on search engine optimization or that organic traffic. If you only pay for ads, but then you don't focus on your SEO at all, the moment you stop running ads, your website will kind of just disappear off of that first Google page. So that's why it's important to not just do Google Ads, but to do SEO and focus on your SEO. So I'll pause here and look at the Q&A, but this is what the SEO report has in it. We have an overview of how your website's doing with different results. We look at the design of the website. We look at how accessible it is. We look at how well it is working across different browsers. We look at your SEO score. We give you an SEO score. And we also review speed, security of the website, and then go into social media briefly here. And we, at the end, will categorize all the fixes as high priority fixes or low priority fixes so that at the end you have an idea of what you should do first to help improve your website. And so if you're interested in that, there's actually a link here. And you can, when you get this PowerPoint, because you will get this PowerPoint, you can click on it here. And towards the end of the presentation, I'll also put the link in the chat as well. And one question was, what are examples of links other than backlinks? So when I mentioned links earlier, I meant backlinks. It's not different from backlinks. It's great to have backlinks that go to your website. So earlier, I just used the word links, but I meant backlinks. And then if you want to know even more, this is a great resource for learning all about Google and how it works and how you can improve your SEO and get a little more educated on SEO and all the different aspects of it. And so this is a clickable link that you can use whenever you get this PowerPoint to learn even more. All right, now let's go to social media. So why is social media important? Let me give you a few stats from a Pew Research study as to why. Currently, 3.5 billion people use social media. That's roughly half the world's population. Facebook alone is actually used by 2/3 of US adults, and 75% of them actually use it on a daily basis. The average person spends roughly 3 hours per day on social media, sad but true. And social media is something that offers an inexpensive way for you to promote your business, engage your customers, and improve their insight to your company and your brand. So as a small business, you don't have a huge marketing budget, and maybe you have no marketing budget. And so it's very hard to market and not spend too much. And social media can be one of those ways that you can do this inexpensively. So for optimizing your social media, having effective social media connects and helps create those relationships with others and can help your business build awareness of your brand, build a personality, can get involved in thought leadership in your industry, and it can help drive more traffic to your website. Can help with reputation management. Social media also offers analytics and insights, so you can see for those following you, what is, the demographics of those that are following me. Can that help me better understand my customer and who they are? It can also help with looking at competitors online and analyzing your competitors, and can also help with giving very targeted analytics and very targeted advertisements, not analytics. Now, when you're going to consider what social media sites that you should go on, it's important to know your customer and know which social media platforms that they're active on. Consider where they go to get their information. For example, this slide shows different generations, and it shows that different generations are known to prefer different advertising mediums. So for example, if you're maybe, if your customers are maybe in the Generation Z or millennial group, then they're going to be focused more on picture and video content. So they're more on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Facebook is slowly going away, but is still present. Boomers, on the other hand, mainly focus on Facebook. They're slowly adapting to Instagram, but Facebook is still the main one for them. Again, so when you're choosing your channels or which social media channels that you want to go into, step one is identify your audience. Get to know who your customer is, how old they are. Are they mainly men? Are they mainly women? What are their demographics? What are their interests? Step two is to find them. So certain demographics use certain platforms more than others. For example, Pinterest's main demographic is women ages 20 to 45. And so if a lot of your customers fall in that category, maybe you want to consider Pinterest. If a lot of your customers are, like my dad's age and men, then maybe Pinterest isn't the best, platform for you to be on. Also, consider how active they are on the platform. For example, while young Facebook users like those in Gen X generation may have profiles on Facebook, they're not very active on Facebook, and they're actually more active on Instagram and TikTok. And so those might be better. Instagram might be better for you here. It's also good to consider how they use the platform. For example, with YouTube, does your target customer primarily use videos to watch how-to videos and educational purposes? Or are they primarily using YouTube for enjoyment purposes, like music videos and funny cat videos? And then lastly, step three, it's good to consider your goals. Are you trying to drive sales? Are you trying to grow recognition of your brand? maybe you should choose platforms differently based on your goals. Lastly, looking at successful competitors and others in your industry and what platforms they're finding success on can help to clue you into which platforms might be the best for you in your given industry. And then again, with the goals, it's always good to come back to them and make sure you don't just set these goals and forget, but to come back and set time in your schedule to see, okay, is this working? And when you're posting on social media, something that's very important to remember is something called the 80-20 rule. And what this means is only 20% of your posts should focus on selling or advertisements. 80% should be on fun, engaging content that improves followers' relationship with you and keeps them coming back. You know, people don't come to Facebook or Instagram just to look at ads. They come to look at engaging pictures, maybe good informational how-to videos, maybe eye-catching photos with motivational quotes, or maybe looking at something that is like a volunteer event that they can relate to, of something that they're passionate about. Those are all examples of other things that you can post. An example of someone who did this really well was Tom Pemberton. He's actually a dairy farmer, and he didn't have a whole lot of engagement on his social media, and then he started making these videos on social media that were a day in the life of a dairy farmer, and they were hilarious. They were very cute with the animals, and he got so much more engagement on social media and a lot of business simply because he showed people in a funny way through video a day in the life of his job and his animals, and opened up on there, not by posting ads. And so that's a really good example of how you can use that 80-20 rule to get more people to your business. Now, I mentioned the SEO audit before, but we also do a social media audit. So if you want someone to look at your social media and maybe get some tips on how you could improve it, that's also something we can do. And there's, again, a link here if you'd like to sign up for that. And then lastly, we also offer a website audit. This includes some of the items from the SEO audit, but it also includes a little bit wider look at your website and looks at some other things here, like the aesthetic of it, how does it look, how easy is it to use the website, your content, technology, and analytics. So that's another report that we can do. And again, another link here, but I'll post that at the end as well. And let me take a look at the chat. Could you put the link into the chat, please? Yes, I will put the link into the chat in just a moment. Let me go ahead and actually, Taya, would you mind putting the link to it in the chat while I talk through the rest of this? It's just the PadTep sign up link.
Yes, I'm putting the link now.
Thanks so much, appreciate it. And the services that we offer are not just those reports. We offer lots of other services. So if you need individual consulting, maybe you need help writing a business plan, maybe you need help with graphic design or tips there, or you need questions answered on how to start a business in the state of Pennsylvania, or how to grow strategically, or marketing, or management. There's so many other things we can help you with. Maybe you need help with knowing where to get capital to grow your business. Those are all things we help with at Temple SBDC, and we can get you set up with a consultant. We also offer other webinars. You can always check out our website for that, training programs, and then resources through our clients, or through our primary consultants that you can get set up with as well. So we offer lots of resources and training again, let's see. Let me go ahead and take a look at the chat and make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, when you say 80-20 rule, is that the breakdown of content in one post or the number of posts? Yeah, to be more clear, sorry about that. 80-20 rule means that out of all the things you're posting in a week or a day in a month, you want to make sure that the majority of it is engaging, fun posts, and only 20% of it is like advertisements. Because if someone's following you on social media and all you post all day, every day is ads, they're probably not going to follow you anymore. All right, and then let me go check the chat and the Q&A. The turnaround time for signing up for an audit is a little off right now because we're about to hit the holidays, but it was about like 2 weeks out, but now it'll be a little longer just because holidays are coming up, but definitely can get you signed up for all 3 of those. And then Jennifer asked, do you assist with website layout? So we can give tips on how to essentially make, we can give tips and suggestions on how to change your website, or maybe some different things that can make it look better. Yes, we can give some guidance on that. Oh, and Janice, thank you for putting that in the chat. I wasn't quite sure how often with Christmas coming up. So it's with Christmas coming up, it's about 1 month from application. And also, if y'all could, there's a survey link too in there. If you could fill that out, that would be great. We really appreciate that to know how we can improve, if what we're doing is helpful or not. And then the pad tap link for signing up for those audits is also in there as well. I think that's all the questions I'm seeing right now. Any other questions? Backlink question. What was the backlink question? I think I answered that earlier. Could you type it again? You said, what are examples of links other than backlinks? I think earlier, and I mentioned that I had mentioned links, but I meant backlinks. So backlinks are where someone on another website puts a link into their website that links to your website. So another example might be the Home Depot. So the Home Depot, for example, has a lot of different vendors, and all those vendors probably put a link on their vendor website to the Home Depot saying, hey, we sell our products here at the Home Depot, click here to go there. Or the Home Depot also has a lot of backlinks from home maintenance blogs. So there's a lot of people that write how to, install a water heater. And then they put a link in their blog to the Home Depot's website and says, go get these, tools and go get these materials here at the Home Depot. So that's another example. Oh, thanks, Terry. All right, and then let's see, I'm a baker. I use low-fat margarine. Should I backlink to low-fat margarine company? You don't have to. And essentially, like, for example, if you're a baker and you have a baker's website, you could maybe cross-promote with restaurants. So, for example, maybe a restaurant happens to, for their dessert, sell your baked goods. Then maybe on the restaurant's website, maybe that restaurant could do you a favor and put a link to your website saying, hey, these baked goods that we sell in our restaurant are from so-and-so's bakery. So that could be a backlink for you. And backlinks can work pretty much for pretty much any industry. Sometimes it's hard to think of ideas, on backlinks, but that's also something we can kind of help with. Also, maybe looking at other businesses in your industry and going to their website and seeing, do they have any backlinks, can help as well. Yeah, good question. It doesn't necessarily have to be clicked on, but typically if it is, that's kind of the purposes. You want more people to click on it so they can come to your website, but it's good just having it. Just having it there can help increase your SEO, because essentially what happens is a search engine sees, hey, there's all these websites that put a link on their website saying, go to this website. It is a legit website. So for example, the Home Depot has a lot of backlinks and it has a really good SEO score because it has a lot of people out there that put links to the Home Depot saying, hey, go here to find what you need for home goods or home maintenance goods. And that can essentially increase their authority on the internet. All right, another question. Does it matter if the websites that backlink to you are high traffic? If it is another small business that doesn't have a lot of customers yet, will it still be helpful? Good question. Yes. So not all backlinks are created equal. If you have a link, say the Home Depot puts a link on their website to your business, that's going to be great, right? Because so many people visit the Home Depot's website. If Joe's hardware store puts a link to your website, it might not influence it as much, but it can still be helpful. But yes, depending on that other website's essential like domain authority, or how popular that website is, can influence how good of a link that it is. So good question. All right. I think I got all the questions. Again, check the chat for that link for signing up for PadTap. You can always go to our website as well. That's also possible.
All right, thank you, Cassie, for presenting. Thank you, everyone, for joining. A few links that were posted in the chat is to take the survey. We do appreciate your feedback, and we use it to continue our no-cost webinars. And if you are interested in any of our services, you can email us at sbdc@temple.edu, and we will be happy to get you registered and set up with the consultant. And if you have any questions following up with the webinar, we will be glad to answer them. And training materials will be sent to everyone in a follow-up email within 2 to 3 business days, and that will be sent directly to everyone. All right, thank you, everyone, and have a great day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.